Kristen, thank you so much for your time. It's a new day, it's a new era. This is how many are describing what's happening in the U.S. today. How are you feeling as a citizen?
I'm not sure I even have words for it, and I'm not very often somebody who's left without words. I have ranged over the day from nervous, excited, gleeful, relieved, weeping, ecstatic. I've been all over the place. I think at the moment, though, my overwhelming feeling is just gratitude that we pulled this off. Things looked very dicey on the 6th of January, and I'm very grateful that we got to this moment and that the inaugural committee and the inaugural ceremony was able to make this moment what it needed it to be to mark the turning point and the beginning of the big work that we all still have to do.
Yeah. What did the last 4 years of the Donald Trump presidency make you feel as an American?
Well, I think the last time I was on, I said I couldn't actually tell you because you don't want me shouting obscenities on the air, and yeah. I'll spare you from that. But as an American who was living in South Africa for the entire time, as somebody who loves both America and Africa deeply, it was heartbreaking, and particularly this past year with the COVID-19 pandemic and the incredible and completely unnecessary mismanagement and the jaw-dropping death toll in a country that should have been a global leader in health and global science has just been beyond heartbreaking. And it's been heartbreaking to watch from here when I can't go and be with friends and family. Yeah, it's been pretty devastating, and this transition moment doesn't fix everything, but it's absolutely a moment when I think yeah, there's this strange feeling. I think it's hope. It's an unfamiliar feeling at this point, but I think that's what it is.
And speaking of hope, Kristen, what are your hopes for this new administration?
Well, I'm an epidemiologist by trade, so I think first and foremost, my hope is that we will return science and evidence to policymaking. First and foremost, of course, policymaking in terms of the COVID-19 pandemic, and Biden has released a COVID-19 plan for the United States that is now proposing to do all the very obvious and very necessary things to get the U.S. pandemic under control, and hopefully will help us restore some global science leadership. We will be rejoining the Paris Climate Accords. We will be rejoining the global public health community. We will hopefully be looking at much more evidence-based policy in terms of environmental impacts. And importantly, he's put a number of key people in central policy positions in terms of everything from environmental agencies to health agencies to justice agencies who understand the evidence and the problems of systemic racism in the U.S. And are committed to thinking about policy solutions that might start to undo some of the damage of not just the last 4 years, but our entire complicated history, where our aspirations towards freedom and our imperfect implementation of that have always, from the founding, been in tension. And I think what was so great for me was that the inaugural ceremony today really held and understood that, we are an imperfect union, but there is this constant possibility of striving to be better. And I think that was exactly the right tone to strike.
So as Trump was leaving and getting into Air Force One and leaving for Florida, a lot of people, especially Americans, watched that moment and said, thank goodness, hopefully we're not going to back to the time when democracy is undermined, to the time where the country is being run on Twitter. But I want to quote what Trump said as he was leaving for Florida. I want to get your reaction. And he said, we will be back in some form, we will see you soon. I know some people listened to that and said, God forbid. How did you respond?
Look, he's been telegraphing that from the beginning. I think it was unsurprising, and I think it is, as much as President Biden, and it's such a delight to have those words in my mouth, I think as much as President Biden was saying, this is a call to action. It's a call to action to bring forward the better angels of our nature, to bring forward the longing of so many in America to restore a sense of justice and to restore a sense of hope. You know, there are problems. I don't think anybody can take a clear-eyed look at the USA and not recognize that there are problems. And I will be candid. I had some very candid conversations with more than one colleague from Germany today about parallels between the US right now and Germany in the 1920s. And it remains shocking to me, but I think we need to be very clear-eyed that those comparisons are not necessarily hyperbolic, but I think that we have an opportunity, and it's an important one, and we are currently on the correct trajectory to make different choices and to choose a different path. And I think that it's going to require all of us continuing to pull in and to be vigilant. But you asked me what I say when I heard those words, and my honest impression was sort of like, yeah, we knew he was going to say that. Like, it's up to us. It's up to us, for those of us who care about building an actually democratic and actually equitable United States, to put forward a more compelling vision.
Yeah.
And I think that President Biden laid out a vision that was really inviting people to partner with him and to work towards that. And I just hope that enough people answer the call.
Yeah, and President Joe Biden did say that in order to push ahead with that vision, you need the buy-in of all Americans, and all Americans united. Kristen Dunkel, thank you so much for your time. She's a U.S. citizen living in South Africa.